Roger Station, just coming up, getting our recorder going. Could you come back with your call sign again, please, sir?
Yeah, this is Charlie, K1 George, Zanzibar, London, K1GZL, up in northern New Hampshire at Clarksville, right on the Quebec border. Go ahead.
Roger. And what was the name again?
Charlie. Handle is Charlie.
Roger, Charlie. Tell me about your station, sir. What you're running.
Okay. This is K1GZL. I'm running a 7300, and I'm driving an Ameritron AL1500 up here in northern New Hampshire at Clarksville. I'm just 4 air miles east and southeast of the Quebec border of Canada, and 2.5 air miles directly east of the very northeastern tip of Vermont. And we're using a 3-element diamond-shaped wire quad. Yeah, my friend Jim, WA3FET, told me that you're on Friday morning, so we thought we'd get on and give you a call. I don't know where you're located, but you're certainly 9+ K1GZL. Go right ahead.
Roger. We're name here is Jim, Juliet India Mike. Call again is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor. And we're located about 3 miles from downtown Louisville. We're on the Indiana side of the mighty Ohio River, right at Louisville. And your signal is beautiful, Charlie. I'm getting you. I can't give you a real S-meter reading because I've got the front end way down RF gain-wise, so I'm below AGC compression to get the best possible translation of sideband. If you get too hot in the front end RF on sideband, it's like copying CW. You only want to inject enough RF to get the job done. So that's what we're doing. So I can't give you a real S-meter reading, but I am looking at your audio on a VU meter from the output of the radio, and you are 10 dB above my noise level. Roger.
Okay, well, you're certainly 15 over 9. That's a pretty good haul for this time of day. I think if this were an hour earlier, it would be louder. But you sound good. Jim, just outside of Louisville, Kentucky, on the Indiana side. I've had this 1500. Excuse my voice; it gets a little bit gravelly occasionally. I've had this 1500 for about 1 month. Here. I'd like to try something. If you are making any recording, I'd like to play back just a few seconds of your signal and see how the recorder is working. I'm using a cassette set, which Jim, WA3FET, knew of this fellow that had one for 20 years in his car. It had never been opened, so he had gotten an Icon 7300 about 6 months before I did. In other words, he did a year and a half ago, and he decided to try to see if he could, have the 7300 do work with an output. As the 7300 just has a card, and the card doesn't do anything but just play it back in the shed. Let me try this recording. I hope I didn't go too far back on this.
Radios, and they're very accurate. Their antennas are...
Oh, that's Jim, WA3FBC. Let me try to find you here.
Up here.
Oh, boy, this is terrible. Wait a minute.
F9 out there, even louder.
Oh, boy, that's too bad. Wait a minute. I don't have an indicator on here.
Sounds really good. Integrated pickup there.
Boy, just a second. I'm sorry to tie you up here.
Louisville. We're on the Indiana side of the mighty Ohio River, right at Louisville. And your signal is beautiful, Charlie. I'm getting you. I can't give you a real S-meter reading because I've got the front end way down RF gain-wise. So.
Okay, how did that all come through, Jim? KC9 Victor King Victor, K1GZL, Clarksville, northern New Hampshire, elevation 2,030 feet above sea level.
Roger, Charlie. Made a fine trip. Good recording. Very good. When you finally found me, I was beginning to feel like a needle in a haystack, Roger.
No? Yeah, I know. I don't have, what is it, a turn situation. I have no idea exactly where to stop this thing, but I've had a lot of luck. I've had a luck with it. By the way, if you are making a recording, how soon is it possible to pick it up? I do not have a computer here, but my friend Bob up the road, KV1 Zanzibar United, does, and Jim told him how to pick it up on his computer, and I'll be over there tomorrow, late tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow evening. And if it were on there, I could pick it up. Back to you, Jim. And if you had any time, I could tell you about my own personal disaster I had when I was at W1AW, the ARRL, for a summer job back in 1951. But it takes 5 minutes. If you don't have time, I won't bother with it. KC9VKV, K1GZL.
Roger, Charlie. Well, you know, this is a first come, first served basis here. It's kind of like a soft serve ice cream parlor, you know. Just whoever's here first. And gosh, I'd love to hear that, Roger.
Okay, well, I'll tell you, this is something that shook my skull up. Let me tell you how it started. This is K1GZL for ID purposes. Back in 1951, I'm 86 years old as of July 5th. Back in 1951, I was living in Elizabeth, New Jersey, where I was born and raised. And I got on 75 meters. I had gotten had picked up my, or I had passed my Class A license. It was only Class A and Class B in those days, of course. I got on with 75, and I happened to hear W1AW say, we are now standing by on 3940 or whatever it was. So I got on and called the fellow, had a nice chat with him, and I said, how does a person ever get a job at W1AW up there at ARRL? And he came back and he said, well, that's a funny thing that you're asking me that question, because I have to go into the Air Force in 3 weeks, and we are searching around to try to find an operator for the station. So he said, would you give me your phone number? So I gave him my phone number. And then he called me back and told me who to contact. So the next day, I guess it was, it might have been Sunday, I was working, talking to him. He called up, he told me the number to call, and I called up 38 LaSalle Road, West Hartford, Connecticut, which was at that time the headquarters of ARRL. So I said, great. And I called them up, and they said, well, Mr. Morgan, if you'd like to come up here on Thursday, or in other words, 2 or 3 days, we'll interview you at 10 o'clock in the morning. So I got on to New York, New Haven, and Hartford, and got up to Hartford, Peugeot, and got in there, and we got talking, and he says, well, if you are available for employment, well, we'll try to see what we can do. I'll have somebody, because at that time I did not have transportation. I did not have a car. I had to go up on the train. So somebody took me over to the station in Newington. So I met Murray Powell. Excuse my voice, it goes out in the morning. I met Murray Powell, W1QIS, who lives in Manchester, Connecticut. So Murray took me through the whole station there, and I thought it overwhelmed me. I felt like a little pea, by comparison to what I was seeing in front of me. You come in the front door, here's where it gets interesting. You come in the front door of that red brick building, make a left, and there is the operating position of the station in those days, and you're looking straight ahead, and there are the transmitters. You've got 2, 2, and 2. In other words, you have two tall racks. One is for 20 meters, the next one's for 40, which was all CW back in 1951. There was no 40 phone. Then there were two more, then two more. And behind them were massive, huge antenna tuners, which were the size of my amplifier here, sitting up on a shelf. Had to change the band. You had to go up on a step ladder and change the taps to the marked spot. Good. So everything's there. And the funny thing is that in the station, at the operating position, way over to the left is the bathroom. Wonderful. So when you go to the bathroom, they had no mirror there to shave by. So what happened? They had a picture of Hiram Percy Maxim up on the wall, and and I had to shave looking into the eyeballs of Hiram Percy Maxim, and I had to be very careful shaving because when I looked at his beard, his white beard, I couldn't see anything. So I had to look to the right of his head to shave. Well, anyway, we got on the air. I remember the first night we put on the code practice, and when you turn out all the lights were flickering on and off, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And another thing which happened, which was a disaster, when I came into the station, instead of going left to the operating position, my bedroom was the room on the right. So what happened? There's a closet there. There's a closet. You open it up, you expect to see hangers. You can put your clothes. Oh no, it was all code tests, all test code tapes. So what happened one day? I picked up one without thinking, and I put it on the machine. I pull it, I put it on the machine, and out goes the code practice at 8 o'clock. I believe it was 8 o'clock in the evening on that particular night. And that was every night. They were running up to, I believe, 35 words per minute. And so what happened? Everything's okay for about 2 or 3, for 3 days. Then I get a phone call. Mr. Morgan, we need to see you tomorrow morning here in West Hartford. So I get over to 38 LaSalle Road, and the fellow comes along with a waistband absolutely full of letters. He dumps it upside down, dumps it on the table. And I said, sir, what are all these letters? Don't you know what these are? No, sir, I don't. You put on a qualifying run. You put on a qualifying run that was not scheduled in QSP. And in amateur radio, we are the god of the hobby. So I said, well, I'm so sorry, sir. I just evidently picked up the wrong one. Well, you're going to have to be very careful. We don't do that here. We don't do that. So I went back with my tail between my legs and continued working. Okay, everything goes fine. Everything goes fine. By the way, the back room on the right, as you look towards the transmitters on the right, is a small room, and that was the ARRL lab at that time. And I remember reading the phone bulletins, and here is the CRPL propagation forecast for July 19th, 1951, all radio amateurs, blah, 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 blah. And I talked about propagation. So I'm sitting there, Jim, and doing this. That worked out fine. Then I decided to go to the movies in fall. Here's where I got in trouble. I went to the movies in Hartford, Connecticut on the Hartford, New Britain bus, got into Hartford, and went to the movies. Okay. Then I come back, and then the next day I get a phone call. Mr. Morgan, we want to see you immediately. We want to see you immediately in here. How soon can you get in here? So I said, well, I can be in there within an hour. And so I got in there to 38 LaSalle Road, West Hartford, and they said, you know what? I said, where were you yesterday afternoon? I said, well, I went to the movies in Hartford. Do you realize what happened? Do you know what happened, Mr. Morgan? I went to the movies. Well, a member of the FCC and his wife, commissioner of the FCC and his ex-YL, came in to see the station, and the door was unlocked. You never locked the door. Mr. Morgan, I'm afraid we are going to have to let you go. And after 6 weeks at W1AW, I was let go, and my tail was between my legs. KC9VKV, K1GZL with my tail between my legs.
Roger, Roger. Well, now, I'm not saying that you have some bad luck, but there definitely was a cloud over your head, and it was a dark cloud. But we all, have situations where we are on a steep learning curve, and I think you may have met your match at that ARRL position. It's just a lot that you had to learn in a short time to get there. So I sympathize with you, sir. And an interesting story. It is when you try to expand your horizons, sometimes you have to be careful that the roof doesn't get too low and you bang your head, Roger.
Yeah, it crushed me below sea level, to say the least. I never forgot that episode, but another time and in the future I'll tell you about an episode I had in Panama, which will knock your socks off, but not now. Go ahead.
Roger, Roger. And just looking at my V meter, you are now like about 12 dB above noise level. So that's a really good signal. And we appreciate you checking in, Charlie. And give me phonetically your call sign one more time.
Yeah, K1G Guatemala, Z Zebra, L London, K1 Germany, Zebra London, G ZL's on the band.
Okay, K1 Germany, Zebra London. Roger, Roger.
Roger, Roger. You got it.
All right, Charlie, appreciate that, sir. Thanks for checking in, and we will be posting these on YouTube within the next couple of days. So if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our QSO-VL0G page, and this QSO will be identified as let's see, my group air check date 10/12/18 on 7189. So it'll be ID'd as with the date and the frequency. Roger, Roger.
Roger, Roger. I resonate lower down, but it seems to be working. Okay, well, look, Jim, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure meeting you, and your audio, of course, is absolutely like you're here. Like you're right in the shack here, natural sounding. That's what I like, natural sounding audio, like you're there. Again, thank you so much, Jim, and I didn't mean to take so much of your time. I really didn't. KC9VKV, K1GZL. Been a pleasure.
Roger, Roger. Charlie, 3's that away, sir, and you have yourself a real good morning. Good talking with you. 3's.